As I told you earlier, we cry in Grave of the Fireflies because of the Kuleshov effect. Because of the way the images are arranged, we feel that the character looks sad. That makes us cry. It is normal to feel sad. But Isao Takahata has never actually made a film with the intention of making the audience cry. It's his work 3,000 Leagues in Search of Mother. Everyone was moved by this work, and it is said that the whole country was in tears. In the proposal for this 3,000 Leagues in Search of Mother, he said at the beginning that he didn't want to make a movie that would make the audience cry. But most of the family members watching them cry. Takahata misunderstands his audience. He's the ultimate sore loser, so he never admits his theoretical mistakes. There is a book by him called Ambition for Manga Films. He writes that in Japan, animation has developed in such a way as to grab the audience's heart and keep them excited. This kind of anime can make the audience cry and move. But he says that's not the kind of anime he wants to make. He also says, instead of immersing the audience in the world of the movie, I made it so that they could think about it from a slightly detached point of view. And he also says that he wants the audience to look at Seda critically. In other words, for Takahata, Grave of the Fireflies is not a film in which the audience can become emotionally involved and immerse themselves in Seda's feelings. On the contrary, the book says that it is made to give the audience a bird's-eye view of the story. And it also says some bad things about Hayao Miyazaki. Miyazaki used to be able to make films that gave you a bird's-eye view and made you think about the story. Look at the Castle of Cagliostro. The audience all laughed. There are a number of scenes in this film that make you say, "What the hell is this?" For example, the scene where Zenigata looks into the water. The scene where Zenigata's face is twisted in a squishy way. The scene where Lupin makes a reckless jump. The audience all laugh. Because, at that moment, we all remember that what we're watching is just an anime. Hayao Miyazaki used to be able to give us that kind of bird's-eye view. But, look at Spirited Away. There are a lot of the same kind of weird scenes. The characters also move in a strange way. But nobody laughs anymore. Miyazaki keeps the audience excited and makes them subjective. He decided to immerse the audience in the work. But I don't. That's what Takahata says. Now you get it, right? He doesn't understand his audience. In 3,000 Leagues in Search of Mother, he assumes that children and mothers don't cry. Even when he hears that they have cried, he assumes that they're in the minority. The boy Marco is not honest and sweet, and he always disobeys adults. He is not a boy you can really relate to, says Takahata. Takahata doesn't draw pictures himself, so he makes the wrong estimate. He doesn't expect the power of an image makes characters look cute. He believes that direction makes all the difference. Even in Grave of the Fireflies. When Seda loses his humanity, and after his sister dies, he gobbles up food and hugs her with no expression. He seems to be grieving, but Takahata wanted him to be confused by the loss of his sister. He's even surprised. He's portrayed in such a way that we can assume he thinks he's done something wrong and regrets it. However, we assume that he is suppressing his tears for stage purposes, that he is too sad to cry, or that his sadness makes such a face. We just assume things and cry. As for Grave of the Fireflies, we are too busy to cry. People don't look at it objectively. Only a psychopath like me looks at them and thinks, oh, he's eating his sister's watermelon and porridge. Why is it so hard to understand Takahata's directing intentions? He's one of the world's best directors. So why is his intention so hard to understand? Especially because this work, Grave of the Fireflies, is literature. There is a book called Shigoto Doraku in which Toshio Suzuki wrote about the people at Ghibli. This, page 76. While working on My Neighbor Totoro, Hayao Miyazaki came to Toshio Suzuki after hearing about Takahata's Grave of the Fireflies. Mr. Suzuki, Grave of the Fireflies is a literary work, he asks. Well, yes, he replies. I make literature too, Miyazaki said. What are you going to do? I can't afford to have cat bus in the film. If I put that in the film, it won't be a literary work, he said. Surprisingly, he also said that he would leave out the scene where Totoro flies on a spinning top. I can't stand something stupid like flying on a spinning top, he says. Suzuki was in trouble. He went to Takahata for advice. He told him what Miyazaki had said. That's a problem. He's going to stop using cat bus? What a waste. Suzuki was delighted. He soon ran back to Miyazaki with the word waste. Mr. Miyazaki, Mr. Takahata says it's a waste. Miyazaki was suddenly in a good mood. Is it a waste? Okay, then I'll use cat bus. It is a true story. Unbelievable, isn't it? After all, it's the same as Dora. In this scene, Dora says, "You realize that you're risking your life?" "I'm ready," Patsu replies. "Ready to meet your end?" says Dora. And Patsu says, "Yes," emphatically. Then Dora says, "I'll let you come." So it is presented in such a way that we can realize that Dora is actually a nice person. So this is entertainment, not literature. The dialogue is structured to show Dora is a good person. This is entertainment. Because in entertainment, it is important to tell. It's important to know what type of character it is. But the literary world has no concept of character. We don't know what the characters think. Every reader wonders what the character thinks. So literature is to think out the answer. Takahata made Grave of the Fireflies as a literary animation. He made it so that everyone could think and give a different answer. Actually, I have a theory that Takahata relies too much on the audience. His last movie, The Story of Princess Kaguya. The catchphrase here: the crime and punishment of the princess. I don't think anyone figured it out. Originally, in Takahata's idea, the film starts on the moon. It begins with the scene where the Princess Kaguya's father tells her, "You have committed the crime, so as punishment you will be exiled to Earth." Kaguya was so excited about going to Earth. She didn't listen to what was being said. It was on the back of the film's first flyer. 50 years ago, the idea for the next film after Horus came up at the Toei Company. There was a call for submissions on how to create a story. Takahata's idea was rejected at the time. However, he cut all the scenes that I mentioned earlier. The scene at the beginning, where she is told about her crime and punishment. Takahata explains why he cut it. Now we have a great staff. So I knew I didn't need that scene. Watching the film, everyone understands the crime and punishment of Kaguya. That's what made the film so confusing. He always says that. Takahata depends too much on his audience. No choice, Toshio Suzuki came up with a method. This is interesting. Here's the method he came up with. Mr. Takahata says such a thing. He is very stubborn. He says the audience should know. A theme that should be obvious in the film. He decided to make it a mystery. If the theme is written on a poster, I think people would wonder what it is. They must come to the cinema to check the answer. Then everyone would think of a theme for the story. As a result, the effect would be what Takahata thought it would be. However, when the film was actually released, all the praise was for the pictures and images. And so, the theme is misunderstood again. Many people assume it's about the beauty of life or something like that. In fact, The crime and punishment of the princess in the tale of the Princess Kaguya is as cruel as the grave of the fireflies. When we make the tale of Princess Kaguya, I'll talk about that. As you can see from the above, Takahata has no intention of making a traumatic anime. He's not even trying to make you cry. He just wants us to think deeply. He wants us to think and reflect on the film. Why did Setsuko have to die? Why is their aunt so mean? Why did Seda die? He wants each of us to think about it. Every night, or all year long. He doesn't want us to feel sorry or pity for them without thinking too much. He wants us to think about the work for years, which is why he puts so much effort into his anime. That's what literature means to Isao Takahata.